I don't think it'll be anything new in 2024, but we might see some current fraud or attacks change a little bit. So I think we're still going to be heavily into social engineering, impersonation type of attacks next year. Those have been very successful for fraudsters. So we'll have to deal with, I think the fraudsters have realized that financial institutions are pretty secure. So they start going after our customers. So there are a lot of more fake SMS text messages or phone calls, having them click on links or divulge information, trying to get around multi-factor authentication. So I think we're going to continue to see an uptick on that. And the only way I think we can combat that is through awareness, educating our customers on what the bank would do and what the bank would not do. There are some other means of protecting against some multi-factor attacks, and we'll look at those to add to it. But I think we'll still continue to see ransomware a lot hitting financial institutions, but maybe a little bit different.
So hey, Roman, hi, my name is Augustin. I am the editor-in-chief of Cyber Express, and this session is called the Security Episode. Welcome to this session. Just briefly let me know a little bit about yourself and your journey with Jefferson Bank.
Yes. So my name is Roman Medina, the Chief Information Security Officer with Jefferson Bank. We're a community-based bank here in San Antonio, Texas, with locations in Austin, Bernie, and New Braunfels here in Texas, for those that know Texas. And I started here at Jefferson Bank in 2014, and right. I was only the third information security officer for Jefferson Bank. Once they reached $1 billion in assets, they had to have a full-time security person. So I was the third information security person, and I've been here since then. I started with a team of myself to now it's myself and 3 other analysts. And we do a lot of different things for the bank. And it's taken several years to implement our security program, but our security program has had to change and adapt as the bank has grown itself.
Right. Got it. So I think to begin with, one of the most conversation that is happening around cybersecurity trends is also about increased online transactions, because of remote work and etc. In this post-pandemic era, when this is the new normal. So how has the bank adopted the revised security strategies? Could you just elaborate on that?
Yeah. So when COVID started in the pandemic, we really weren't a remote bank. We had maybe 10 people working from home. It was a very small number. To now, in ending 2023, we have the capabilities to support every employee remoting in. We have close to 400 employees. But the way we've approached that to have it secure, of course, we already had multi-factor authentication in place. So anyone remoting in would have to username and password, and then they had a second factor that was a push authentication to authenticate against. The other thing we did to secure our remote users was the technology we're using is the virtualization technology. So when they log in from their home computer, or it could be a work computer, they're really running a virtual machine as their remote computer. And this virtual machine is non-persistent, so they can't really save anything to it locally. Everything stays on our network. Right. Those virtual machines are refreshed weekly to kind of minimize that impact. Should something malicious come over from their home network onto ours, it's really isolated in that virtual environment.
Oh, good. That's really nice to know. Yeah. So yeah, could you also tell me a little bit about threat intelligence, especially around now that you're dealing with banks? I think banks have usually been one of the most targeted industries globally, for that matter. So how important is threat intelligence for a bank, and also when it comes to dark web monitoring? What exactly is it? How exactly are you engaged with it? Considering there are multiple things. There might be CVVs and the credit card information meet on a daily basis might include people from your bank, your customers as well. So how do you mitigate those kind of risks?
Yes, so we started our threat intelligence journey probably 4 years ago, and it has evolved, it has changed. But one thing we are doing with threat intel is we are trying to be proactive. So anything that could be a brand impersonation or spoofing website, we're notified about that, and we take the proper steps to mitigate that, whether it's taking the site down, notifying our customers, notifying our employees of the potential threat that may bring. We also get notifications whenever one of our user accounts, anything with a jeffersonbank.com email, is found on the dark web being sold, either compromised credentials. It's necessarily not on the bank, but some other type of credentials. But we do take the proactive approach where we'll talk to those employees and we'll ask them, make sure that's not the password you're using on the network here at our bank. And we ask them to change it. And we take that time to talk to them about good password security. We do get what's called BIN alerts or fraud alerts. And if there's anything found with the Jefferson Bank that could be a debit card of ours, and we do work with our fraud department to inform them that that card was found on the dark web, it could be sold. And usually a majority of the time they come back and say, yeah, we have been seeing some fraud on that account already. And then we're able to stop it before more fraud begins to happen. So anything on the debit card type of fraud, the faster you act on it, you minimize those losses. I don't think we're ever going to stop debit card fraud with so much skimming and like you saying, online transactions that are happening. We're putting in that debit card number everywhere nowadays. So that's how we've been using our threat intel, and it's been working great for us. We have 3 analysts that monitor all that, and they respond to those alerts pretty timely.
Oh, good deal. So, of course, I think it might be given that there are tools that you will probably engage for most of these, maybe document monitoring or maybe any kind of cybersecurity tool. So, if there are any metrics that you have, a checklist that you have while you are engaging or while you're choosing a cybersecurity tool, what all would that be?
So we do, we don't really have a checklist or a template. I think every cybersecurity solution is going to be different on what the objective is for that. But a few things that we try to look for is, does it, first and foremost, we use a lot of software as a service. So a lot of cloud hosted, externally hosted services. So we do look at, does it support our single sign-on? Does it support our multi-factor authentication provider? So that would be the biggest thing for us. And then after that, then we look at, okay, where is this cloud hosting provider hosted at? During our third-party risk management or vendor management program, we look at their business continuity, disaster recovery plans. Are they able to continue services should something happen? We look at their independent security or audit reports, or like a service organizational control report, which is a SOC report,
Right.
to see if they're following a general control practice or framework. And then that document is actually very valuable because it'll list out the controls that they may have in their environment as well. So we also look at, how does that tool fit with our current technology stack, whether it be if we have to back up data, how can we back up that data to our backup systems, as well as, is there a specific browser that has to be used? Is that the browser we use for our enterprise? Little things like that we would look at. Like I said, we're kind of outsourced, so we don't have a template of sorts, but we want to make sure that does it fit with our other security ecosystem? Can we get the logs from it? Will it go into our SIM? What's the type of alerting that is happening? Are they actionable alerts? So that's kind of what we look at when we're bringing in new security solutions.
Right. Okay. So another problem that a lot of banking, industry or the financial industry has been marred with is the fact that there are still several outdated legacy systems that are in place instead of having good modern digital platforms. So how important do you think that mitigating that is, especially when it comes to understanding how the threat landscape is evolving and understanding the fact that maybe most of the time legacy systems are not going to do the work.
Yes. Yeah, so we try to stay on top of those legacy systems and ensure that there's a plan in place. Is there an upgrade path for that? Do we have an end game? Is it changing providers, or is there a path to upgrade to something that is supported and not considered legacy anymore? If it is a legacy system that's unsupported, and the good thing is we don't have many of those here at our bank, but we just maybe on a Windows Server level, when we had some in the prior months, we'll try to isolate that server. We'll put some whitelisting or some more control, where maybe everything's blocked and we only allow the valid authorized activity that we know. So we definitely increase the preventative measures on that solution. Or if it's a solution that a lot of times it's a legacy system that our users want to hold on to because it has data that they may need, or data they have to refer to maybe once a year. So we talk to them and say, okay, well, we'll keep the data for you, but that legacy system will be turned off. And only when you need to use that data, just a quick phone call to IT, we'll power that system back on, let you do what you need to do. But for the rest of the year, that legacy system will be turned off.
All right. All right. Okay. Another thing that I want to know a little bit about is how is the financial sector dealing with policies around BYOD? And what all are the potential risks surrounding employee devices, considering there is not a lot of visibility around what kind of devices are there, especially even this can be also, you told me that you have work with three analysts. What about their devices? I mean, do you have complete clarity on how many apps are there in them in their phones? So this kind of
Right. Yes.
transparency.
Yeah. Our bank, we don't have a bring your own device policy. We don't allow that
Okay.
today. Of course, there are some exceptions a lot of times, but our mobile device management system has the capabilities to uh, isolate or containerize the bank data within the phone. So something were to happen, we could wipe the bank data without touching anything else on the personal side of that phone.
Right.
We do tell these employees, we're going to have to put this software on your phone, and we could see all the apps that you have. We're not monitoring your activity, but we could see how much storage you have. We could see some sensitive info that is on your phone. As long as you're okay with that, then of course you could use your device. And like I said, we have a very small number. They're just exceptions. Um, so we really just monitor that. We don't proactively block a lot of that on the BYOD until there is a known issue. So if there is a known issue, we might look to see, okay, if there's a problem, let's just say TikTok, for example. We might talk to those employees about what those vulnerabilities or issues may be. If there's a high vulnerability on a laptop, and we know that our home users, the remote users, when they remote in, that's their home computer, we'll send out a general awareness. Say, hey, anyone using a MacBook, there's a critical vulnerability, make sure you patch. And we'll keep an eye on those reports to make sure that our employees are patching or upgrading their systems as they need to. We haven't actively blocked any of that coming in, but we are looking at those. We have the capabilities to do it. We just haven't turned it on. So maybe in the next year or two, we'll start blocking. Okay, if you have an outdated operating system, then you can't connect to our network. If you have a known vulnerable application, then you can't connect to our network. We'll start setting those policies up probably in the next year or two, and that's going to cover BYOD here in the office if they're connecting to Wi-Fi, or remote access if they're coming in from their home computers.
All right. So, last two questions. One is AI is the way ahead, okay, and then implementation of AI in cybersecurity. These have been the most, or probably the biggest buzzwords of the entire 2023. Ever since the NLPs became a norm. So how much of an AI implementation do you foresee, especially around cybersecurity in the financial sector, going forward in 2024?
So there's kind of like two areas of AI, of artificial intelligence, that I see. It's some of these consumer enterprise level AI tools like ChatGPT, um, and some of our employees using that to help them either conduct different parts of their daily work. So
Right.
that's one aspect of it. And then the other side of it too is some of the solutions that we use, they're starting to embed some sort of AI module or framework in their own solutions. So uh, right now we're looking at what policies or approach we want to take. We know we don't want to block it outright, but we may start with a block and then start, like for example the ChatGPT OpenAI. We may start blocking that internally, and then as employees request access to it, we'll start asking, okay, what are you using it for? What are those use cases? I think everyone's going to have different use cases for it. So that's when we're going to start learning ourselves, okay, what are they using it for? We'll probably end up licensing it and getting an enterprise version where the artificial intelligence is closed. Uh, Questions we ask, or hopefully or information that's uploaded to the AI, of course, we'll have some rules around it, that it can't be any customer data, nothing sensitive, but it's still within the closed enterprise version and not used to train their AI models going forward. And then I think that's the other big thing on some of our applications, having AI within them. We'll have to really question our vendors and ask them how their AI models work. How is it learning? Is it learning from all their other customers? What is shared? Is it actually closed AI module that's only for our financial institution? And we really just need to start getting familiar with with the AI, with the algorithm. What's that model behind it? Uh, but it is, I think it's still something fairly new. Like I said, we have very small use cases for it, but like you said, I think it's a buzzword. I don't think that's a buzzword that's going to go away. I think this is one of those that's going to stay with us for the next several years, for the future, really.
Probably. All right. So last thing, of course we touched AI. So what else? What else are your predictions for this year? Considering we are at the tail end of 2023. So what's in store for us for 2024, and what are your predictions for next year, especially in terms of security in the financial industry?
Yeah. Well, wow. So I think we'll still continue to see it. I don't think it'll be anything new in 2024, but we might see some current fraud or attacks change a little bit. So I think we're still going to be heavily into social engineering, impersonation type of attacks next year. Those have been very successful for fraudsters. So we'll have to deal with, I think the fraudsters have realized that financial institutions are pretty secure. So they start going after our customers. So there are a lot of more fake SMS text messages or phone calls, having them click on links or divulge information, trying to get around multi-factor authentication. So I think we're going to continue to see an uptick on that. And the only way I think we can combat that is through awareness, educating our customers on what the bank would do and what the bank would not do. Uh, there are some other means of protecting against some multi-factor attacks, and we'll look at those to add to it. But I think we'll still continue to see ransomware a lot hitting financial institutions, but maybe a little bit different. Like I said, a different spin on it. Not only where they'll ransom, but they'll um, extort. Right? They'll say if you don't pay us, we're going to post this information. Most most ransomware victims are not paying the ransom because they have good backups now. Well, the fraudsters are saying, the cyber criminals are saying, okay, well, you have good backups, but I'm going to post this information and shame you or report you to the SEC so you can be fined and pay money to them. So I think the extortion angle is going to just increase a lot, in 2024 from the ransomware side of it.
Yeah, the SEC thing was new. I think we didn't anticipate that
Yeah,
happening.
right. That was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, very. I mean, I felt it was like a very desperate attempt to get
Yeah.
attention. All right. Thank you so much, Roman. I mean, it's really lovely talking to you, and I really generous of you that you thought it was an email interview, but then you just took the time out to have a conversation with us. Really
Yes.
appreciate that.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Happy to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.